Welcome to Your Blueprint for Happiness, 5 Principles for Building a Better Life. Happiness isn't a knock of good fortune that we must await. Like the end of a rainy season, neither is it something we must find, like a freeway exit or a lost wallet. I prefer to think of the creation or construction of happiness because research shows that it's in our power to fashion it for ourselves. How many of you would like to be happier? How many of you can think of at least one thing you wish was different about you or your life? How many of you can think of at least one thing you wish you had because you think it would make you really happy? If this wish came true, do you think it would bring you greater happiness? Would anyone be willing to share their answers? If you would like to, you can place it in the comments on the video. People have often wished, and some have even thought, that there is some single thing that they can do that will almost magically transform their lives. The solutions have ranged from self-esteem programs to food and nutrition supplements and many things in between. All these things have some benefits. Their effectiveness is often not proven, or their benefits have been overstated. If you'd like to follow along, there is a publication, the link of which is in this post. It's Your Blueprint for Happiness, PDF, that's available for you to fill in your thoughts and create your own action plan as we go along through the series. Building happiness is like building a house. If you build based on a faulty plan, your house will be shaky and easily damaged. If you build based on a well-developed blueprint, your house will endure and enrich your life. Martin Seligman, a famous psychologist and one of the foremost promoters of the study of positive psychology, discovered a glaring paradox in the field of psychology. It occurred to him that for the last half-century, psychologists have been consumed with the study of mental illness. And while they have gotten very good at identifying and treating many disorders, Seligman found that there was a gaping hole in the science and study of what makes people happy. He said that he wanted to know how to get from +2 to +7, not how to get from -5 to -3. As a result of this discovery, Seligman and many other psychologists have dedicated the past 20 years to the study of positive psychology. And what they have discovered has said, just as we saw in the last slide, happiness isn't a knock of good fortune, and it ended with, it's in our power to fashion it for ourselves. In other words, building happiness is like building the house that we just looked at. Today, we'll talk about Seligman's discoveries for how to build a happier, healthier life by applying the following 5 happiness principles to our lives. Today, we'll focus on notice and appreciate the good in each day. And each day, for the rest of the week, we'll cover one more of the strategies. The foundation for happiness is all about how you make sense of the world. What life experiences do you focus on? How do you choose to interpret those experiences? Thomas Edison devoted 10 years and all of his money to developing the nickel alkaline storage battery at a time when he was almost penniless. Through that period of time, his record and film productions were supporting the storage battery effort. Then one night, the terrifying cry of fire echoed through the film plant. Spontaneous combustion had ignited some chemicals. Within moments, all of the packing compounds, solenoids for records, film, and other flammable goods had gone up with a whoosh. Fire companies from 8 towns arrived, but the heat was so intense and the water pressure so low that the fire hoses had no effect. Edison was 67 years old, no age to begin anew. His daughter was frantic, wondering if he were safe, if his spirits were broken, how he would handle such a crisis at this age. She saw him running toward her. He spoke first. He said, "Where's your mother? Go get her. Tell her to get her friends. They'll never see another fire like this as long as they live." At 5:30 the next morning, with the fire barely under control, he called his employees together and announced, "We're rebuilding." One man was told to lease all the machine shops in the area, another to obtain a wrecking crane from the Erie Railroad Company. Then, almost as an afterthought, he added, "Oh, and by the way, anyone know where we're going to get some money?" Virtually everything you recognize as Thomas Edison's contribution to your life came after that disaster. What was Thomas Edison's focus? How did he choose to interpret this experience? As we discuss the first three objectives of this lesson, we will look at how our life focus and how we choose to interpret our life experiences can fortify our foundations. Principle 1. Notice and appreciate the good in each day. Many people believe that their circumstances determine how they feel. In the events of the day are frustrating, disappointing, or stressful, we assume it is inevitable to feel negative emotions, to not be happy with life. But scientists who study human behavior have discovered that the happiest people aren't happier because they have better circumstances. They are happier because they have learned to look for and appreciate what is good about each day. Barbara L. Fredrickson has said, "Positive emotions, like all emotions, arise from how you interpret events and ideas as they unfold. They depend on whether you allow yourself to take a moment to find the good, and on whether, once you've found it, you pump that goodness up and let it grow." One day, when Adam was 5, I took all 3 of my children out to pick up a few household needs. I parked the car, extracted my children, 2 were in car seats, and began the process of herding them all into the store without getting killed by traffic. I had Lizzie by the hand, and the older children were following, at least until we reached the doorway. That morning, the store was holding a sale on ornamental plants. Flowers and shrubs were lined up on benches and tables just outside the door. The display drew Adam like a moth to a flame. His eyes got round, well, as round as they ever get, considering, and he began to coo with delight. "Come on, Adam," I said, steering Elizabeth over to an empty shopping cart. "Keep moving, keep moving, keep moving." By the time I had lifted Lizzie into the cart, Adam had disappeared. I heaved that weary sigh, the one you remember your own mother sighing, the sigh that is sighed at least once a day by every parent of small children, and went back a few steps to look at him. He was over by the gardening display, walking away from me. "Adam," I hollered, trying not to sound too much like a child abuser. "Come here, get back here." He looked up and blinked. "Come on." Adam shrugged and, with a lingering look at the gardening display, trudged over to my grocery cart. I had the 2 older kids grab the bars of the cart as usual, and we headed into the store. Just then, I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned. A very tall, very craggy, very elderly man was standing behind me. He was wearing a baseball cap with the name of a cattle feed company emblazoned on it. He had the huge, rough hands of a lifelong farmer. "Excuse me, ma'am," he said, doffing the baseball cap. I wondered if you noticed what your boy was doing just now." I felt a surge of apprehension. Adam had done some profoundly embarrassing things in his short lifetime. He had hidden his shoes in my mother-in-law's microwave, crammed crayons into the babysitter's heating vents to watch them melt, gone over to visit the neighbors, alone, wearing only galoshes and a bra, my bra. I couldn't imagine what he might have done in this brief time I'd lost track of him outside, but his creativity in these matters always went well beyond my imagination. I answered the old man with a cautious no, trying to look harried and innocent. The old man leaned down to speak softly in my ear. Your boy, he said, stopped to smell every single plant in that display outside. Oh, I said uncertainly. He didn't just smell the flowers, said the farmer. He smelled the shrubs too. He smelled every bush that they have out there. I think he even smelled the dirt. I blinked at him, not altogether sure I was getting the point. Come with me, the farmer turned and gestured. He seemed very pleased, almost boyish. I turned my shopping cart around, children still attached, and followed him. We went outside to the gardening display, the old man leading. I caught up to him next to a row of ornamental juniper bushes. He was leaning over, his eyes closed, inhaling deeply through his nose. Smell this, he said, pointing to the juniper. Katie and Adam had already begun sniffing. I put my face close to the shrub and smelled it. It had a tangy, sharp scent, somewhere between citrus rind and sagebrush. The smell brought back a sudden flurry of memories from my childhood. Huh, I said. It's something, isn't it? The farmer gave me a crusty grin. Now try this one. We went on smelling bushes for 5 or 10 minutes until we'd sniffed our way through the whole display. I was so relieved that Adam hadn't done anything illegal and that I hardly even wondered why this gruff, practical-looking man was so invested in this whole thing. Adam and the girls thought it was wonderful. They snuffled through the 2 rows of plants like happy truffle hogs. As far as I was concerned, the bushes beat fresh-baked cookies hands down. If you want to stir your imagination and your memory, I recommend that you immediately locate and smell some shrubs, whatever kind grows in your neighborhood when you were younger and closer to the ground. When we finished, the old man straightened up to his full height and tipped his hat at me again. Things aren't always as they seem, are they? He said. No, I agreed. It pays to look close, he said. Then he leaned over again, put his lips near my ear and whispered, My boy's 23. Then he turned on the heel of an enormous boot and walked away. Ah, I thought, no wonder. He's one of us, those who have compassion. Adam's mother learned a great lesson that day from her son, and that lesson was to take time to find the good, plump goodness and let it grow. I hope you enjoyed that story. We'll move on now to look at the ways that we can make each day more enjoyable. First, close your eyes and picture something that you have already enjoyed today. Take a walk with a focus on enjoying nature and your surroundings. Explore your home. Notice and appreciate things in your home that are meaningful to you. And think of good people who enrich your life and list some of the ways they bless you. You can pause the video now and complete your handout if you like, or make notes about things that you would like to do on this list. Some additional ideas. Get a journal or notebook and write down at least 2 things that went well today. Make a habit of doing this every day. Think over your schedule each morning and anticipate the blessings of the day ahead. Remember, what we choose to focus on will often determine our outlook and our attitude. Review your day and see what benefits you can find in both common everyday experiences and difficult experiences. There are additional ideas in your handout for you to complete. We will stop here for today. Reflect on happiness principle number 1 tonight, and then join us for the second principle tomorrow.